Just fantastic. All right, so we're going to be talking about dreams a little bit and moving forward. Now, this worksheet isn't too long. It talks about dreams on one page and then talks a little bit about hypnosis or hypnotic effect on the back. So it's not very long, okay? But still dealing with consciousness in chapter 4, and then next week we're going to get into drugs, right? We're going to do drugs. I mean, we're going to talk about drugs, right? We're going to talk about drugs. So, yeah, what? so we're gonna talk about drugs and psychology, and what those do for us a little bit, and what those mean. So yeah, weird looks, right? So so let's talk about dreams a little bit. Like, why do people dream? What do they dream about? Right. So did anybody, when they slept last night, did you dream? Yes. Anybody? You did dream.
I did.
Okay. So without getting into what you dreamed about, unless it's just really crazy and wild. So when you dreamed, was it familiar? Like, were the people familiar in your dream?
Yes.
Like, you recognized them?
Yes.
No?
The people like took. I was getting stabbed by needles because I watched this crazy show before I went to sleep.
Yeah.
And it was people were getting stabbed by needles, so I was getting stabbed by needles.
So,
and the boys that took me, I don't know who they were.
so people took you and you got stabbed by needles,
Yeah.
and it was crazy and you didn't recognize them.
No.
Okay. But you did recognize the people in your dreams. You recognized who they were.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Did you recognize people in your dreams?
I don't really remember it. I was just talking in my sleep last night. I was dreaming about something.
But you knew you had a dream. You just don't remember who.
I remember what happened.
Who you don't remember what happened, but you knew you had a dream. Okay. See, like I don't remember dreaming last night. I don't remember if I dreamt anything last night personally. Does anybody else remember that you dreamed or? No. Okay. So you know, I don't know. And here's the thing, is like some people would say, like, you know, like every dream means something, or it's some hidden meaning or something else. And so and people have always tried to decide or decipher if dreams really mean something. Okay? And it really became big in the 1900s with Sigmund Freud. Okay? This guy. Yeah, so Sigmund Freud really believed that people had that they really had subconscious hidden things from their childhood, and it was deep within them, and then it would come out. Okay? And when they were adults, these things that happened in their childhood would come out. All right? And so what he used to do, he would analyze people's dreams. Like he would talk to people, and he would analyze their dreams, and that's how he would discover what their real problem and underlying issues were. Okay? And so the dreams were symbolic of something greater. Okay? Now, this isn't necessarily the case today. I mean, most people have pretty much put away everything that Sigmund Freud has done. Okay? Like, it's kind of crazy, because most everything that he'd said had a sexualized underlying tone to it. It had something to do with sex, okay? And so most people have put all that away, all right? But when it comes to dreams itself, there's actually two things. There's the manifest content and the latent content. And the manifest content is the dream itself, okay, guys? And then the latent content could be this. It's the hidden meaning of the dream itself, what it really means. And sometimes there actually can be some meaning behind it. And some still believe that there is some meaning behind dreams. However, it's not like what the Freudian thought or interpretation is that it could mean. Like, for example, in the book it gives that a guy had a dream of being in a bathtub. And he was in a warm bathtub. Now, Freudian thought would say, okay, he's in a warm bathtub, so he's having a dream of being birthed out of his mother's womb. Okay, that's what a Freudian thought would bring out. Okay, is that it's a symbolize of him wanting to be rebirthed out of his mother's womb. You see what I'm saying? So that's the kind of thought process a Freudian thought brings. Okay, but that kind of thought process has been put away. All right. So when we think about dreams, sometimes when we're talking about dreams and we're talking with a counselor, dreams could mean something on some level, but it's within the context of what's actually happening within life, right? So things that we are dealing with, right? So what's going on? How, what's going on at school, at work, in your home life, right? So could be a manifestation of what's happening in those areas and what's happening, in your thought process when you're going to sleep, right? Didn't we talk about yesterday about when we get into sleep, right? REM and non-REM sleep when we're dealing with stuff, right? Non-REM sleep is when physical labor, and REM sleep is when it's stressful, right? Isn't that right? Isn't that what we talked about yesterday? Correct. So we could be dealing with something else, right? So there's some hypotheses to this. Activation synthesis hypothesis. This is a theory. A dream is another kind of thinking that occurs when people sleep. Okay, it's less realistic because it's not from this world of reality, right? But it's from our memories and experiences, and so in other words, we tend to pull in things, right, that we have experienced or seen or done, and we do this simply because the frontal lobe of our brain tends to be almost completely shut down when we are sleeping, all right? And so that's shut down, so we're bringing in memories and experiences that we've already had to fill in gaps, all right, when we dream, all right? This is why it accounts for such weird and bizarre dreams, all right? Because, again, we are not dealing with the real world, all right? When we're dealing with the real world, we're dealing with actual stimuli that's coming in, right, that we're seeing, right? So stimuli, our senses are not activated when we're asleep. It's all shut down, right? So the brain is trying to do something. So it's bringing in memories and things that we already know to fill in those gaps, okay? Because it's activated, all right? But there's also another model for that. It's activation information mode or model, or AIM, all right? This is info during working hours, right, can influence on our dreams, okay, when it comes together. In other words, the brain is trying to try to use meaningful bits and pieces from part of our days to explain what's happening, all right? So in other words, what this is doing is when we get into this deep sleep, our brain is active, okay? And so what it's trying to do to explain this activation and what's going on, it's bringing in things that have actually happened to us, stressful points in our life in the last few days, and it's trying to piece them together and put them together, right? And it's trying to make sense of it. And this is that theory, all right? And so it's trying to put all these together, all right? And so it's trying to explain all that, explain its activation, and trying to put all that together. Okay, guys? So that's AIM. All right? That's AIM. All right? But what do people dream about? Okay? So most people dream in color. All right? So when you dreamt last night, those of you who said you had dreams, was your dream in color?
Yes.
Yeah. All right, so here's something interesting. Did you know that those who watch television in black and white, did you know television used to be in black and white? Okay. You know. All right. Yeah, so television used to be in black and white. Right, so I'm just making fun anyway. So, like, those people who used to watch television in black and white, their dreams were in black and white. Don't you find that? I mean, I find that interesting, okay? So their dreams used to be in black and white, right? So, but your dreams are typically in color. But those who watch television in black and white, their dreams were in black and white. I just find that very interesting. But when it comes to dreaming, there are gender differences in dreams. And so, typically, when we dream, so let's talk about women for a second. All right. since the majority in here are women. All right, is that okay? Can we do that? All right, and then we'll talk about us guys. All right, that's a few guys. All right, so when we talk about women, women tend to dream about men and females more. Okay, men and females more. They tend to dream about being victims of aggression. Like, I mean, your dream, I mean, it actually fit in this. They tend to dream about people they know. They tend to dream about personal appearances and concerns. And they tend to dream about issues related to family. These are typical, okay? It doesn't always fit into the box, okay? But this is typically what women dream about based on some research, okay? Now, men, okay? Men tend to dream more about men. All right? They tend to dream more about physical aggression. They tend to dream more about outdoor stuff and unfamiliar settings. They tend to dream about dreams that involve weapons, tools, cars, roads. They also tend to dream more about sexual dreams, unknown attractive partners. This is typically what men dream about. Okay? And that's not always the case, and neither one of these is like always how it is, okay? But it's typically what it is, okay? But then also, you know, when you look at this, like when you think about America in itself, like as in our culture, like dreaming in America tends to be more aggressive than, say, dreaming, the book says, in like the Netherlands, okay? It'd be less aggressive, okay? When they survey people, all right? So when you take it in cultural areas, it's even different, all right? So, but in dreams, here's what we know, right? Is that in dreams, we all do activities we would normally do in life, but then sometimes we do things that we don't do, right? Like sometimes we fly, right? Sometimes we fall. Sometimes we do things we wouldn't normally do. Correct? Has anybody ever experienced anything like that? Right? Like, yeah. So, and that's when the dreams are really cool, right? When they're when you call like a lucid dream, right? When you know you're in a dream and you can actually do things, right? When you know you can be the star of the game, or the star in the show, or whatever it is you're dreaming about, right? That's when it's really fun. And I mean, I remember having dreams like that. You know, when you're a superhero. Anyway, stuff like that. So that makes dreams fun, right? So that's really all there is in there about dreams. But there is something else in here, and that's about hypnosis, right? And so there's really, I'm not going to go deep into hypnosis. I'm just going to talk about really 4 effects of hypnosis, or 4 steps of hypnosis, and talk about that just real briefly, and then you can read about the rest of it. So there's really 4 steps of hypnosis, and it's this, right? Is that a hypnotist tells a person to focus on what is being said, because I'm not really big on hypnosis, except it was very interesting to learn that 80% of people are susceptible to hypnosis, and only 40% of people are good subjects to hypnosis. All right? So 80% of the people are susceptible, but only 40% are good subjects out of the 80%. Are you following me? All right, so half of the 80% would only really be good at being hypnotized. Okay? All right? In other words, you have to really, and here's the thing to this, okay? The key to this, is that you have to be willing to be hypnotized. That's the key. You have to be willing, all right? All right, so here's the thing. A hypnotist tells a person to focus on what is being said. The second thing is the person is told to relax and feel tired. Then the hypnotist tells the person to let go and accept suggestions. Then the person is told to use a vivid imagination. And then the person becomes, has a heightened state of suggestibility, right? So, but the key is for the person to have a state of suggestibility, okay? If the person doesn't have a state of suggestibility, then it doesn't work, okay? So a person has to have a state of suggestibility or hypnosis doesn't work. Are you following me? So when you see videos of somebody being hypnotized or whatever, if they don't want to do it, it's not going to happen, right? It's one of the things that I always look at is like whenever there's, like in martial arts, there's these people who do these no-touch knockout things. Have you ever heard of this? Okay, so in martial arts, it's a no-touch knockout. Like they'll do these things where they'll go woo like this, and somebody will fall down, and they have like all these followers. It's really stupid. All right, and they'll knock somebody out, or they'll push them down, and they'll just go like this, and the person will tumble and fall. All right, and it's the same thing. It's like it's suggestibility, and they're gullible, and they're following this leader guy, and it's fake. It's just totally fake. And then the guy starts believing the lies that he can do this stuff. And so then you get a real guy in there that actually knows how to fight, and then he gets the snot beat out of him. All right. And anyway, so this is kind of the same thing. It has to be suggestible, or the person has to be willing to be hypnotized, or it doesn't work. Okay. But there is some things in here that actually can help. Hypnosis can help if the person is suggestible to do it. Okay. All right. So. I'll give you this worksheet. It's not going to be due on Tuesday. It's going to be due a little bit later. All right, and I'll give you this sheet as well. All right, and then we'll start working on drugs next week. That one is due Tuesday. All right, but I'm going to give you this one, and it'll be due later. Okay. All right. Any questions?